Wyze is quickly becoming a household name in affordable home surveillance, and last year, it updated one of its popular cameras with the Wyze Cam Pan V2. Much like the Wyze Cam V3 that we reviewed, the Cam Pan V2 takes a similar design from their earlier version and upgrades it with a new processor and a new sensor that can nearly see in color in the dark, along with the ability to pan 360 degrees. And like many of Wyze's products, it's packed with features for the $40 price tag. So let's dive in and take a look at the Wyze Cam Pan V2. Thanks for watching 9 to 5 Toys. Be sure to like, subscribe, and enable notifications with the bell icon so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Hey everyone, Jordan here with 9 to 5 Toys, and if you've seen our previous review of the first generation Wyze Cam Pan, then the V2 is going to look very familiar. It features the same tall design with a round base that allows the camera to rotate 360 degrees. In the back, the Wyze Cam Pan V2 has a micro USB port on the base for powering the camera. And on the bottom of the camera, we find a slot for a micro SD card, as well as the setup button and a microphone. And on the front, we see the lens that can tilt up and down 93 degrees. So like all of their other cameras, Wyze keeps, getting the Cam Pan V2 set up really simple. First thing you need to do is make sure that you have the app, and if you do already have the app with other products, make sure that it's updated to the latest version so that all of the cameras are supported within the app. Then power on the camera, open the app, and hit the plus icon in the upper left. Wyze will take you through a few quick steps which involve scanning a QR code on your phone with the camera to get it connected to the network, and then give the camera a name and it's good to go. So once it's set up, one of the biggest features of the Cam Pan V2 is the addition of that starlight sensor that we saw on the Wyze Cam V3. So the biggest thing there is that it is a very sensitive sensor that can display color night vision, down to 0.1 lux, I believe. So very dim, almost dark rooms can be displayed in full color, which is pretty incredible. If there is just the tiniest bit of light in a room or a street light outside, there's a good chance that the Cam Pan V2 will be able to show in full color. And even if it can't show in full color, if it has to switch over into night vision mode, one cool feature on the Cam Pan V2 is that the IR lights are invisible. On most cameras, even Wyze's Cam V3, when it switches over into night vision mode, there are some red lights that you can see on the front, and that's the IR lights that are, shining the signal so that the camera can actually see. But on the Cam Pan V2, these lights are invisible, so there won't be any red lights on the front of the camera at night. And that's a great thing, because considering that this thing can turn and rotate by itself, without those lights on there, it has a lower chance of disturbing kids and pets. And once you have everything set up, the camera is pretty responsive to inputs. So have it open in the app here. There are the controls down here at the bottom, the different arrows, and you can see it's about maybe a half-second delay between actually pushing a button and actually moving the camera. So it's pretty quick, pretty responsive. And there are different speed settings that you can change in here. If you have it turned all the way up, it can pan 180 degrees in about 2 seconds. So here we'll point it to the left, and then we'll point it to the right. And so there it just turned 180 degrees. Now, if you don't want it moving that fast, you can turn down that speed in the settings. And as far as notifications, if it picks something up and sends it to me, to my phone, it's usually taking about 15 seconds for that to pop up on my phone as a notification. And walking around my office, the Cam Pan V2 has done a pretty good job of tracking my movement. So if I start at one end, like over here by my desk, and walk around to the other side, it'll track me pretty well through all of that motion. But if you do move pretty quickly, it can kind of lose you. I tested that with both myself and my kids running through the frame in the living room, and it kind of tricked the camera. By the time you had moved through it, had kind of moved to where you were before, and so it couldn't really keep up. All right, and let's dive into the app and take a look at some of the different settings you can put on there. Within the Wyze app, selecting the Cam Pan V2 opens up some quick settings. You can mute audio, enable a speaking feature to talk through the camera, record videos, take a photo, and control the pan and tilt of the camera. At the bottom is a button to view playback of locally stored footage from the optional SD card. Tapping the More button on the right opens up even more controls. Motion tagging will outline motion detected by the camera in green boxes, and this helps to give a better idea of what is causing notifications, but this can also be turned off. Next, the motion tracking will enable the camera to pan and tilt to follow motion through the image. Without this on, the camera will stay stationary, but when enabled, the camera pans around a room and tracks and follows any movement that is detected. Turning on Pan Scan will have the camera rotate between the different waypoints, which can be set within the app. Pan Scan kind of works with motion tracking turned on, but the tracking will be overrun by the pan scan intervals, so it isn't as dependable in my experience. The More button also enables viewing of an album of saved videos and photos, setting up a time lapse, turning on the Siren, and turning the camera off. And here we'll give a quick example of what the Siren sounds like on here. So pretty loud, pretty obnoxious. And that can be stopped and started within the app. Beyond what's available right on that homepage for the camera, clicking the settings button in the upper right opens up a whole nother world of options and settings you can change for this thing. Starting from the top, you can change the name of the camera, and then if you go down into detection settings, you can change the motion detection sensitivity, detection zone, which you can enable a certain area. If there is a certain part of your image that is showing notifications that aren't necessary, like a tree waving in the corner, you can set up a detection zone that will exclude that tree so you get more meaningful notifications. And then you can also change the sound detection sensitivity. And down under event recording, you can set a schedule. If you just want it to be while you're away at work, you can turn that on. And you can also enable motion or sound to trigger event recording. And under Smart Detection, which is a part of Cam Plus, you can enable or disable person detection, package detection, vehicle detection, and pet detection. Under notifications, because we have Cam Plus enabled here, and we'll talk about that more in a second, you can turn on notifications, you can turn on Wyze AI events, which will detect people and cars, and you can turn on all other motion events and then sound events as well. So you can toggle those on and off depending on your situation and what you need. Under alarm settings, you can enable sound alarms. So if it detects a standard smoke alarm sound or a carbon monoxide alarm sound, you can enable those and the alarm will go off. And under advanced settings, there are quite a few more options here. So if you have a micro SD card installed, you can enable that to record to the micro SD card. You can manage the card. Under motor controls, this is where you can control the speed of the camera. And in the pan scan settings, this is where you can set the different waypoints. So if you don't need it to pan 360 degrees, then you can make those a little bit shorter. Under night vision mode, you can set it to auto, on, or off. And then you can also change the conditions for night vision to dusk or dark. I have it set to dark. Under that, you can enable or disable the night vision IR lights. So depending on where you have the camera set up, if you're shooting through glass, that IR light will reflect off the glass and it just won't be a usable image. But if you're still trying to do that, then you can disable the night vision IR lights, and then you can still shoot through glass at night and get, at least a usable image. It might not be as visible as what using the IR lights, without glass would be, but in some situations, there's not really a way around that. You can also turn on and off the camera status light. So as you can see on here, as I toggle that, it'll turn the light red and then turn it off when I turn it off. Then we have rotate image. So if you have this mounted upside down somewhere, you can rotate the image 180 degrees. And then for recorded footage, you can show the timestamp, the Wyze logo, and record sound. So you can enable or disable any of those. And then under rules, this is where you can set a ton of different automation features. Wyze has a wide variety of products from, smart sockets to LED bulbs to all these different cameras. So you can set different rules throughout your day. If something is triggered, then something else will start, or at a certain time you want the Christmas lights to turn on or turn off. At a certain time you want the camera to start, and so this is where you can kind of get creative with different rules depending on what different products you have in your home. Under sharing, just like other Wyze Cam products, you can share this camera with another user. So if your spouse or a coworker or somebody you want to share this with, you can really easily do that through here. And then we have device info, Wyze support, and restart the camera. So quite a bit of customization that you can do within the app for the Wyze Cam Pan V2. For the price, I've always been really impressed with the video quality coming out of these Wyze cameras. The 1080p resolution uses an f1.6 aperture lens that can see 120 degrees, but then can also zoom in within the app, which makes it easier to pick out details. And so out of the box, the Cam Pan V2 comes with a 2-week trial, I believe, of Camera Plus, and that's Wyze's more premium subscription service, which enables both AI detection and then also pretty much 24/7 recording storage to the cloud. Once that runs out and you're back down to the basic plan or the Wyze Cam Lite, which will be rolling out soon, which we'll talk about here in a second, then you're back to those limited recordings, which are like 12 to 15 seconds. They call their little snapshot recordings. And then there's a cooldown in between that. There's a 5-minute cooldown. So it will record something when it detects motion, up to like 12 or 15 seconds, but then there'll be 5 minutes in between those recordings. So if you do have something that's going on that you want to record for longer than that, you won't be able to do that with the basic package unless you add your own micro SD card. So if you add that in there, and I believe currently they only support up to 32 gigabytes, which Wyze does sell it on their website for $13, but you can always check 9to5toys.com because we're always sharing the latest deals and usually feature different SD cards. But with an SD card, you can enable 24/7 recording that is stored locally on that card. So Personally, I think that's almost a necessity with these cameras. It's a little bit more cost, but if you don't want to subscribe to that, monthly feature, then this is something that gives you 24/7 recordings stored locally, and you don't have to worry about, whether or not the motion is actually picked up and the recording is triggered. With that Cam Plus though, that subscription, it's $2 a month per camera. So for just one camera, that's pretty affordable. If you have a bunch of different Wyze cameras, that can start to be a little bit more expensive per month. But that enables the person detection, that enables package detection and pet detection, I believe. So this will give you a little bit more information, when you get a notification on your phone. Do you want to see all the motion? Do you just want to see pets? Do you just want to see people or packages? And it'll actually tell you, in the notification what kind of thing it detected on there. But recently Wyze announced their Wyze Cam Lite, which is still a subscription service. It's their bottom tier, but it's a pay whatever you want service, which can even be $0. So if you don't want to pay anything, then you can just pay $0 and not have any extra cost there. And this adds person detection to the kind of basic plan. You will still have those kind of snapshot recordings though. I think it's like 12 or 15 seconds, and then the cooldown in between. But with person detection, you at least get, some more meaningful notifications. In a forum post announcing this new plan, Wyze stated that on average, users receive 250 notifications per week, and 70% of users haven't viewed recorded videos for at least 30 days or more. So they're hoping that this will give more meaningful notifications, and that's a little bit more useful to users, and then also as less cloud storage for Wyze if they aren't recording, every single event. And I really think that person detection is a great feature considering, how much motion these cameras can pick up. So the ability to have that for, $0 if you don't want to pay anything for it is a great addition. One other note here is that on February 15th, you need to opt into that Wyze Cam Lite or Cam Plus. Otherwise, you'll lose all of your cloud storage. So even if you aren't paying anything, you do need to still opt into it to keep any sort of recording. And while the Wyze Cam Pan V2 does not support HomeKit, it will integrate with Google Assistant, Alexa, and If This Then That. So overall, wrapping up here, with the Wyze Cam Pan V2, Wyze is another great camera in its arsenal. The upgrades to this new version make it more powerful and more capable. If you do want to save a little bit of money or, want a more discreet camera that's a little bit smaller, at just $25, the Cam V3 is a great option. But if you need something that can pan and, scan around a room, then the Wyze Cam Pan V2 is a great choice for $40. All right, and that'll do it for our review of the Wyze Cam Pan V2. Thank you very much for watching, and let us know what you think about it down in the comments below. And if you want to watch some other related videos, check out our review of the Wyze Cam V3, as well as some competition from Abode. And thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. This is Jordan with 9to5 Toys.